join us.
With liftoff just about 6 minutes and 15 seconds from now, the vehicle and payload are healthy, and propellant load is well underway on the launch pad. Speaking of the launch pad, you may often hear the pad on your screen referred to as Historic Launch Complex 39A, and there's good reason for that. LC-39A was originally built to support the Apollo program with the goal of landing humans on the moon. This launch pad eventually supported the Apollo 11 mission to the lunar surface, carrying NASA astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins in July of 1969. So we're just about a week past the 54-year anniversary. And after numerous launches of the Saturn V and Space Shuttle vehicles, the launch pad was leased to SpaceX in 2014. Since then, we've launched 66 missions and 38 humans to space from Launch Complex 39A. Today's mission will mark SpaceX's 249th overall mission to date, our 67th mission from 39A, and 50th launch of 2023. We look forward to reaching even greater space milestones on this launch pad for years to come. Now, coming up next, we should hear the call out for Strongback Retract.
Falcon Heavy tanks are pressing for Strongback Retract.
So there you heard Mission Control confirming that we are pressurizing the tanks ahead of Strongback retraction. Next up, the clamp arms around the second stage, which you can't really see because they're being obscured by those LOX clouds there, are going to begin to open. And that truss structure next to the vehicle, known as the Strongback, will retract away from Falcon Heavy. Again, those clouds that you see forming around the vehicle are nothing to worry about. That's actually liquid oxygen boiling off the surface of the tanks inside the rocket. As that boiled off liquid oxygen meets the warm Florida air, it's forming actual clouds around the vehicle. There you can see coming out from behind those clouds, we have had the clamp arms open up around Falcon Heavy in preparation for liftoff. There you have a great view of the Strongback actually pulling away from the vehicle. This initial retraction is just a slight movement. Ahead of liftoff, we'll see full retraction so that Falcon Heavy can clear the launch pad. Now, the next major milestone we're tracking is liquid oxygen loading completion. We're expecting that here in just about a minute. Just about 25 seconds left of liquid oxygen loading. Really gorgeous views of Falcon Heavy on the launch pad tonight. The next major milestone we're tracking is going to be the announcement that Falcon Heavy is in startup mode, which means that the internal flight computers have taken over the final count in the lead up to liftoff. About T minus 1 minute is when we expect to hear that call out, and that's also when stages 1 and 2 will begin to pressurize for launch.
Launch abort has started.
As you may have just heard over the nets, we just heard an abort called out from our launch director. We're waiting for other updates from Mission Control, so stay tuned and we'll come back with an update as soon as we can.
Hey.
Hello, everyone. I am glad that you are here today because such events at such a time. I know that everyone has gathered here for a reason. Now we have a live broadcast on which every cryptocurrency owner will be able to increase their income. Yes, you heard right. I'm hosting a big crypto event from SpaceX. I think everyone already knows that I bought a tweeter. In honor of this, we are launching a large-scale campaign to integrate cryptocurrencies into a social network.
Well. We are back again. Unbelievably. Would you Adam and Eve it? And I wanted to show you the launch, but we're not going to see it. They had an abort. So we didn't get to see it, which is unfortunate, right? I was hoping we could get to watch it and get to see the rocket in action, but clearly not, right? They knew we were watching, so they aborted. Typical. There you go. But it was a live SpaceX Fake X launch, and they always crack me up. SpaceX, the guy Elon. I mean, honest to God, where do you even begin with him? Honestly, talk about an entity, a jack of all trades, man. Unbelievable. But there you go. We're not going to quite get to see it tonight, so they'll reschedule and go again at the next window. Hopefully next time they can strap Elon to it and send him to Jupiter, right? That would be interesting, to say the least. I remember years ago, when would it have been? Ah, man. It must have been about 10 years ago. Would it have been that long? It feels like it was that long. Anyway, I was watching a SpaceX launch, and they launched a rocket, and then it showed you the rocket launching. Then the camera panned to an audience or a crowd in like a SpaceX building, and they're all cheering. And I can remember saying to someone, "Oh, it's CGI. It's not a real crowd." Because if you look at if you look at it back, they're all men. Every one of them is a man. And you can just tell by the way they're reacting that it's not real people. And I remember I can't remember who I told, because I remember downloading the video and they said nah. But I did say, well, pick out a female in the crowd, and they couldn't. And you could say, well, it was all men, but I can't see that being the case. There was quite a lot of people in it, and it just looked very, very suspicious. You know how you get, like, in a computer game, you get the bots in computer games, and sometimes they'll be glitching or up against a wall, walking, because they don't know what they're doing. It was a bit like that, like all these bots celebrating, but they don't even know what they're celebrating. It was a SpaceX launch, and I thought, bloody hell, man. Honestly, you can't really. I mean, they talk about deep fake today. I think that in regards to the use of deep fake technology, I think it could be old news, that more than people even would care to believe or care to know. To an extent where it might shock a lot of people, even me. I mean, what would you genuinely believe and trust? And it can sound a bit, well, how can you live like that? Well, you can. You certainly can. But you've got to have your wits about you. You've got to be strong, right? Because when you get deep down into these entities, it is never a good story. There's never a good ending. There's never a rainbow. It's always bad news. We'll go with that. So I'm reckoning maybe next week we will do a geoengineering update, and possibly also a live stream on, I'm unsure what to maybe call it, on Freemasons or just the occult and the secret societies, if you like. But mainly Freemason, to be honest. There's an interesting video that I've seen, one or two, and one of them in particular. The guy in it, he's a Freemason, and he's in one of the Masonic lodges, and he's reading pretty much a Masonic manifesto, and it talks about how, well, it says you can't be involved once you're in the Brotherhood, you can't be involved in anything conspiratorial against the government. You would be, well, I'm unsure what would the punishment be. I would dread to imagine, to be honest. But you can't be against anything like that, of course, right? So, I mean, it's again a dead giveaway as to the government being pretty much controlled by the Masonic Brotherhood, the secret society, the Illuminati, if you like. It's a Masonic manifesto. I can't remember the exact name, but I will download it, and when we get into it, I'll share the video. And there's another one that I want to share. There's a guy, it was actually a YouTube channel, but I don't think he still makes content. Ragnar, do you ever sleep? Well, I think, do you know this? There's plenty of time to sleep when you're dead, right? We'll go with that. But yeah, I do. I do tend to. But I'm not someone who goes to my bed early, that's for sure. Usually about maybe 1, 2 o'clock. And that's me. No matter where I am, I'll fall asleep and I'll be out for the count, right? So be prepared. Of course, I'm not going to be on that long. I did want it to get into the launch as it happened, but because it got aborted, that kind of ruined it, right? But definitely next week I'm going to be back twice. And then I'm hoping the week after we can get a guest on. Right, I'm unsure who. I will contact the lady Sandy Adams, and we'll see if she if she wants to come on or not. Right. Who else did I see? We'll say hello anyway. We'll see what the crack is. Right. I was live earlier tonight on John Davidson's channel, and we reviewed a movie called Dr. Carnegie. I can't even remember what it was called, but oh man. It's the movie was from the 1920s, right? So you can get an idea as to what it might have been like. But it wasn't a great film. Quite staggering to think that's over 100 years now. People have been watching these movies that get made, and I did notice in it quite a lot of symbology. The triangles in particular, swirls as well, spirals. It was interesting to an extent, but not a movie that I'd recommend. I kind of felt like I was being punished having to watch it. So I don't recommend movies from the 1920s. Don't make people watch them either. But there you go. Hey, I watched it anyway, right? I gave it my time. And yeah, it was strange, a bit creepy. And I kind of felt like I'm probably going to have a nightmare about it at some point. It was so weird, man. I don't watch many movies. I'm certainly not a movie critique or a reviewer, but I've watched a fair few. Has anyone seen that one? Did I tell you I watched one the other day called, what was it called again? It was about time. I mentioned it to Joni, and it had the guy Justin Timberlake in it, who I've not got any time for any of these people. But to be fair, he played the part quite well. I never expected him to be any good at acting. But he was all right, to be fair. But I mean, I've got no time for these entities. But it was a bloody weird film, right? Where when you turn 25, you get a clock on your wrist, on your arm, and that's how long you've got to live, right? And you can exchange time. You can swap time with people, and all the elite, all the rich have got eons and billions and millions of years to live. Some of some of them are like centuries, thousands of years old. They've been here for, and it was bloody. Do you know this? I was unsure what to expect, but I kind of thought, bloody hell, this is weird, right? This is a weird film where you pay not in money but in time. So to get the bus, it would be 2 days or a week. And of course, the rich could go and do anything they want, but the poor living minute by minute, basically, all about time. And quite interesting the fact it was made in 2011, and they were talking about the cost of living crisis, and I thought, that's caught my attention a wee bit. I thought that was interesting because not only that, the I'm unsure if the country and the world itself seem to be divided up into sections, different time zones, where they were basically all bordered up. Only the rich could get through. Only the people with the money, the time, could afford to get through. Otherwise, you stayed where you were in your 15-minute city, I guess. I'm unsure it was made in 2011, but what date was it set in? Probably 2030, right? I noticed as well in the film, people in the background, it seemed to be people hanging around, not doing anything in particular, just like zombies, basically. And I thought, well, we're kind of we're kind of there now, right? We're kind of there now. But I might make a video on it. And I've mentioned before, we might do a stream dedicated to movies or particular movies, but I'm unsure how to go about it at the moment. Typical, right? But I reckon maybe sometime this year we might get into something in that respect. But I'm unsure. I mean, I've got no set agenda, set motive, or blueprint or anything like that for the way that the channel is going to go. I kind of feel like it's got a mind of its own. What have you created here? I don't know. I don't even know, right? But we just do what we do. It's all based on basically my interest for content creation, but not only that, my genuine concern for the world that we're in. I mean, the world that we love, the things that we love about the world, the good things, love, compassion, family, unity. That's all pretty much going out the window now. And it can be kind of a depressing thing to get into. And I shouldn't laugh, but I laugh because I think how have we managed to get this far? And we have got right down into it. We have not held back at all in any way, shape, or form. And I mean, even very early on. Of course, I got terminated because I wasn't safe. People were not safe, right? Medical misinformation! Ah! But of course, it wasn't the case. Yeah. Shock horror. And I mean, I don't know. I guess some people could maybe say, well, you should have just gave it up. And I can remember someone saying, see, your channel got deleted because you were telling lies about the juice. Well, I wonder where they are today. In fact, let's not go there because they probably ain't there. And that's another situation that we've covered before. Excess deaths is it's eye-watering. and that would be being polite. And it's right across the board. They can't hide it. Of course, they'll manipulate the data. That can be guaranteed. That's how it works, of course. So you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be worse than previously thought. We'll go with that, right? I see my brother Danny in the hood, who I had a missed call from. So I do apologize. I'll have to hit you up tomorrow. In fact, what you doing up at this time? You're usually in your bed by like 10 o'clock. What's going on? Must be a special movie that you've got tonight, right? Do you know this Danny, my brother? He was borrowing my Netflix account. Do you know how you could share your password? But Netflix have stopped it now. So he can't get free Netflix anymore. Which is a shame, right? I didn't mind sharing. Yeah, of course. Why not? It was no skin off my nose, right? But then Netflix said no to it. I mean, what gives them the right? But of course, you can see why they done it because Danny's now signed up. So it's worked what they done. You can't share it. Of course, that's how much control they've got. They know the location, who, where, even if they're in the same family. Nope. And so he's got his own Netflix now. You can't share it anymore, which is, talk about tyrannical, right? I remember I had a a very strange kind of situation with Netflix, and it was about maybe, when would it have been? Going back a few years now. But I had an issue with my Netflix account, and it wasn't working. It kept coming up an error code. So I thought, right, I'm gonna phone them up and see what the score is, right? My bloody Netflix, man! Demanding it. I fucking paid for it. But yeah, you know the score. So I phoned them up, and then it's like an American guy. And I thought, oh bugger, here we go. It's the feds, right? It's the feds, man. Why is it some American dude? And then I was telling them all, I can't watch it. It's coming up some weird bloody code. And they were like, right, what's the code? And I told them the code, and I'm like, oh, okay, right. I'll have to put you on hold and we'll phone you back. And I thought, right, weird. So, of course, I thought, right, okay, sure, why not? So later on, they phoned me back, and it was some other goon, some other CIA agent. And he was like, oh, yeah, what's happened here is quite a rare, strange problem that we've not really encountered before. And I'm thinking, right, and he's like, oh, what I'm gonna need you to do is go into your laptop. Have you got a laptop? And I said, yeah. I use a laptop to watch. I think I had Netflix on my laptop. I'm not sure, but I went on my laptop, went on to Netflix, and what I had to do was I had to accept an agreement for this guy to get access to not just my Netflix account, but my actual device, the laptop that I had. Honest to God, this is no word of a lie. And I was kind of thinking, wait a bloody minute. I'm unsure. I was kind of thinking, well, I don't know. I'm unsure if I want to do that. And of course, they said, "Oh, well, you'll get 3 months, 2 or 3 months for free." I think 2, which of course I got sold on. I got sold on that, right? Well, I thought, well, okay, why not? It won't take long. And I was still speaking on the phone, and I'm unsure what exactly we done, but he went onto the account, um, done something, and then it was fine. So God only knows what happened there. I don't know. I've not got the same computer. But I feel a bit like after it was a bit like, wait a minute, what? What even just happened there? Should I have said, well, actually, no, I'll just leave it? But then it probably would not have got fixed, right? So I don't know. But I mean, it's not often I speak to an American, so it was a bit strange phoning up and speaking to these Americans who were great. They were sounded quite genuine and no issue. But I thought it was a bit weird that I had to give him access to my laptop, like the whole thing, the whole lot. And I was in my old house. It must have been about maybe 4, 5, maybe 6 years ago that it happened. Has anyone else had that? Just me, right? Just me. Speaking of incidents, strangeness, me and my brother Danny actually have had some pretty interesting conversations on the phone. Kinda about the world in general. And there's been a few times where I don't know, it's been strange things have happened on the phone while we're talking about things that are questionable, maybe. Not drug deals or anything like that, but just the world itself, how the world might work, how it operates. And then you get this weird buzzing on the phone, or I can't remember exactly what happened, but there's been incidents where we've had. I'm laughing because I can remember. I'm sure me and Danny had a really interesting conversation once on the phone. And then after it, or during it, Danny's phone actually broke. And he took it into. He took it into one of the guys to see it, and he was like, "What the hell? I've never seen anything like it." Honest to God, this is a true story. Danny will tell you if he's still there. He might remember it better than me. But I don't know what had happened. His phone got fried, man. Maybe it got triggered by a certain conversation and was like, nope, that's getting erased from the matrix, right? But there's been occasions where, yeah, you kind of wonder. And I mean, people say in the past, well, I mean, I'm nobody. I know that. I've never claimed to be anybody, but that's not the point. That's not how I mean, the way that they operate, being nobody is a kind of perfect candidate for any sort of operation of any kind. And I mean, they would pick out people at random, probably, even. And a lot of the time, it is people that have been under psychological operations, maybe. They're nobody. And a lot of the time, people don't believe it because they think, well, but you're nobody. But of course, yeah, that's the perfect candidate to do it on then. No one's going to buy it. Why would they do it on you? You're nobody. Right? Maybe that never made sense. Who else have we got in the hood? Maybe Danny's away. Fell asleep, man. It's past his bedtime anyway. Ragnar in the hood. Good to see Rags back again. He'll be live on Sunday as well. Rich in the hood. My long lost son, of course. Sure, why not? The beautiful Justine in the hood. Good to see you back again. A pleasure. Hope you and the family are well. The wonderful Joni back again. Hopefully we can catch up again. Of course, Joni's channel got terminated. And I do indeed know what that feels. I shouldn't laugh. I know what it feels like being terminated twice. And I got it back twice. So I guess maybe where there's a will, there is a way. But I was a wee bit confused. What did you say again? Why did it get deleted? Because you talked about the menopause, but men. Was it men having a... I mean, I shouldn't laugh, but did you say men having a menopause or something like that, and it got terminated because of that? Maybe I should watch what I'm saying. Otherwise, I'll be getting terminated on it. He's mentioned the menopause. I'm unsure, but I mean, you never know, right? What a world we're in. So it's good to see Joni back again. Maybe you can let us know. Streaky Bacon in the hood. Great stuff. Good to see you. And thank you for joining John Davidson stream. Julia in the hood. A pleasure to see Julia. I seen Sensum. Where did he go? Ah, there he goes. We can't miss Sensum, the great, right? The backbone of YouTube. Man, of course, Rich coming from me, I guess, right? Who else did I notice there? Oh, Alphabet Cat. Great stuff. Good to see you. And I believe Mana Pause, yeah. Yeah, maybe I picked it up wrong. Maybe I've got the effects of the mana pausing. I don't know. It's funny because I've joked about that to my wife as well. Honest to God. I was like, I can remember saying, but what about men though? Surely surely we've got something similar, right? And I think we argue about it. I love my wife. We get along really well, but I do remember mentioning that in a conversation, and it didn't go down too well. Well, you could be right there, because I remember on my second appeal, when part of it, I explained how the channel could potentially be targeted by specific individuals who want to see the channel terminated. And I think that might have been the reason I won the appeal. Although I can't say for sure. They don't say, yep, that's why. So maybe base your appeal on that. Might be an idea. Strange how they work. I mean, it's not fair how they do it either. You can only put 800 words, and that's all you're allowed to say. Imagine that in court. You're appealing. Now you've only got 800 words. So you better make it quick, right? But somehow, I mean, hey, if I can pull it off, then surely there's a chance that anybody can. I mean, I done it twice, which is why I get shocked when, I mean, for example, David Icke, he would have had his channel terminated on probably what they called medical misinformation, but it won't be. But they probably won't even appeal. So what does that, I'm unsure, what does that tell you? They've now went elsewhere quite happily. But of course I fought back and I didn't let it go to an extent. Although, to be honest, I kind of never gave it any hope until about a year later. And I thought, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna I'm gonna appeal, and I'm gonna give it both barrels basically, because I knew by then, 7 months later, after juicing, all the boosting, yeah, down by the Jabbertwa, it all came out, even in the WHO. The go-to, the masters of the universe. Yeah. So I knew, and I then even had evidence in a sense from the WHO to back it up. And I think maybe the next day, I got an email saying, yeah, we looked again. We've made a mistake. Yeah, sure. Sure, right? So I would advise people to appeal against it and don't give up on it, because there's no limit to the appeal. Well, you might get a time frame. Although I waited about 7 months, but that might have changed by now. They might have made it a short. I'm sure you got up to a year, maybe. So maybe I just in time, and I'm unsure even why. I think I won an appeal on Facebook on copyright, and then I kind of thought on the back of that, do you know what? I'm gonna put an appeal against the deletion. And I thought I'm gonna really give it as much as I can in the 800 words, just as much beef as I can. And unbelievably, it won. And of course, the same thing happened again, but the second time was a wee bit different. And of course, I won it again. And then at that point, I did kind of think, well, wait a minute here. Whose channel is it? Is it my channel? Is it YouTube's channel? And I'm not sure if that'll make sense to anybody, but I kind of get the feeling it's not even mine. It's got a mind of its own, and YouTube decide if it gets out to play or not. At the moment, the channel that I'm on now, the backup, the Talbanoki Live, it's not got any restriction. I think it's got a warning, which I think it lasts for eternity. So you get a warning forever. It doesn't go away. But it's not got any strikes, and it's not deemed anything that I know of in the way of hateful or harmful. But my original channel, that's a different story. That's got all the red flags, and when you go on it, probably an alarm goes off. Because they've deemed it harmful. So I don't know what they mean. What do they necessarily mean? The topics that I discuss are harmful? Are they saying that me as a person, I'm harmful to people? Is that what they're saying? I'm unsure. But I did look at one or two of the videos, and I think maybe talking about, there was one in particular about a murder. And I don't think they would have liked that. So maybe it was just based on that. but of course they're so not to the point. In anything that they say, it's anybody's guess what you actually do wrong. And I'm kind of glad we don't get as many strikes or whatever it may be, because it's a bloody kick in the stones. Honest to God. I mean, people put in a lot of effort and time, and then what, to get YouTube to say no, no, no. Computer says no, right? AI, super bot, takes all your effort away, just like that. Like Tommy Cooper. And I hate it. I hate that fact. I hate the position that we're in. It's annoying. And it's part of the reason why I went ahead and created the website. Because I thought, well, I can't be censored there, and I can put anything I want, which is why I put different live streams from Hour of the Time. In particular, the one on Germ Theory, Germ Theory 1, Germ Theory 2. It is on the YouTube channel. Yeah, not the YouTube. The website. It's late, right? It is on the website, and I do recommend people check it out. And of course, if I put that on YouTube, I would get a strike. So I know I can create content and put content out on my own sort of platform, trouble-free, right? To an extent. And of course, I pay for the website and the YouTube, and it's money that I'll never get back. But I'm not going to come on and beg people for money that they've not got. So it's all on my sort of shoulders, if you like. And I'll keep doing it for as long as I can. The website gets used quite a lot. If it stops getting used, then I might scrap it and we'll take it from there. We can always go back if needs be. You never know where it's going to go, right? You never know what card they're going to pull out the pack next. So what are we? Yeah, instant strike for talking about Germ Theory. I've done it before, and it got a strike. I done a video called Germ Theory versus Terrain Theory, and it was quite good. It wasn't anything extreme, but we looked at the two cases, and of course my weight went for the Terrain Theory to an extent, but it's all very complicated stuff. It really is. But the guy, I'm forgetting the guy's name, but if you go on to my website, you'll find the video in the live video sections. His name's Alex something. And the research that he done on the Germ Theory is staggering. And he done it in 1993. Honestly, I was quite shocked at how extensive it was. And some of the stuff he told us about the guy Beecham, I never knew about that. Some of the stuff he told us, how Beecham basically plagiarized the work that he had from somewhere else, from someone else a time before, when they basically tried to roll out the Germ Theory and no one bought it. They tried to scare people with it and it didn't quite work. But then Beecham came back and readjusted the whole germ theory story, and they went ahead with it. There's a story I always remember with the guy, the terrain theory guy, where they got a volunteer, a fit and healthy young man, to drink a glass of water that had been laced with, I think it might have been E. coli. I'm sure it was E. coli. And they made him drink it. Honest to God, they made him drink it in front of an audience and all that. And he was fine. He was okay. He didn't die. He never got ill. And he was totally fine. I'm unsure what exactly it proves, but I mean, it's a very complicated thing when you get right down to it, because I mean, who do you believe, right? I wouldn't trust the guy Beecham. No way. But when you fast forward to 2023, man, honestly, God only knows what they've been doing in these laboratories. I dread to imagine. What have they been working on, right? I mean, there might have been a day where germs weren't a thing to an extent, like how they say they are. Spreading, they're on the door, they're on the money. But I mean, I would not rule out the creation of such a thing. I couldn't rule it out. I don't think anybody could. I mean, they seemed determined on destroying humanity as we know it. Hence, that's life, but not as we know it, right? Some cheeky bugger as well said on John Davidson's stream, because unfortunately I was a wee bit late. Not very much late. About 5 minutes, not even 10, maybe 10. And someone said, that's life, but not on time. I mean, the cheek, the absolute brass neck. That's life, but not on time. Yeah, okay. I'll give them that one, right? I don't like to be late, but I can be. I can be late. Yeah, John's doing okay at the moment. He had pneumonia, so quite unwell. He's holding up. But it's been not well. So it's been a wee bit worrying. I always worry about people more than I I probably should. That's the person that I am. I'm quite good at not showing it. But I do think about people. Of course, we're all human here. We're all caring people, right? I like to think that we are anyway. But yeah, he's been unwell, and he was okay tonight. He was holding up. He was, yeah, you can tell that he'd been unwell. But he also stopped smoking cigarettes, which is, I mean, for a guy that's probably smoked for longer than I've been alive, that's quite an achievement. And I know for my late father, he smoked as well, like a chimney. He really did smoke. He loved a smoke. And he never gave up pretty much until he couldn't hold a cigarette, or he couldn't make one. Well, even when he couldn't make one, he was still trying to get me to make him. But even after a while, he deteriorated so much, he just gave up completely. But he never gave up smoking at all until he was on death's door. So I've got a lot of respect for John. I mean, I know other people who, when they're that old and they run well and they think, well, what's the point in giving up now? I should have gave up 20 years ago. But it's not the way to think. It's not the attitude to have, right? Better now than never. You don't know how much time he could be adding on to his life. It's not what you want to be thinking about, but it's the right idea. Smoking's not good for anyone. That is certainly true. So good to see Carmel in the hood, all the way in New Zealand. What time is it there? Stupid time like it is here, probably. What are we at now? 1:45 in the morning. Jesus. Who else did I see? Da, 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 da. Streaky. Yeah, John. No, he wasn't withholding anything. He was. That was funny. That. Yeah, he was great. It was like the second coming of John Davidson, right? And he was shooting everyone down. It was great. I loved it. I thought the new John, the new John is a great John. We're going to be seeing more from the second coming of John. That was great. And I noticed as well Streaky's comment about John saying, "Oh, don't phone," when his son done a stream. And I thought that was funny as well. I mean, the last thing you want when you're ill is people annoying you on the phone or anything like that. I'm the worst person ever in the world when I'm ill. Honest to God, you would not want to come anywhere near me because, yeah, not good. Luckily enough, I'm not ill very often, touch wood, right? So I'm happy enough with that. But I don't live a perfectly healthy life and eat healthy, so I guess we've all got crosses to bear. Scotty's in the hood as well. Good to see Scotty back again, who I believe is in Australia. We're going to go with that. I've got a homemade electromagnetic that I ran my watches through to get my watches going again. Ah, cool. Julia. Interesting. Yeah, John. It was funny. Eke was saying, "Oh, the people that wear the hats," and John's sitting there wearing a hat. I thought that was quite funny. I thought, calm down, Eke. Poor John's sitting there. He's feeling like he's going to have to take his hat off now. Of course, who's he referring to about these people who wear the hats? I wonder who it could be. Incoming anti-Semite strike. I don't think I've been called an anti-Semite yet, have I? Maybe I have actually. I think quite early on. I remember some guy, it was a Rockefeller video that I done, David Rockefeller, and I never even said anything about Jews or Jewish people, honest to God, because it was about David Rockefeller. Seemingly I was anti-Semite. I was a anti-Semite. And but I can remember at the time thinking, I don't even know what an anti-Semite is at the time. I was unsure. I mean, yeah, sure. Why not? But I've been called quite a lot, so I've got the skin for it, right? We'll go with that. Who else did I see? Is there anyone else in the hood? Yeah, maybe not too. I mean, still recovering. I would say. So we'll give him time. He's hopefully on the mend, right? We've got to stay in good spirits for John and ourselves, but yeah, still breathless and recovering, but still going, a true warrior and out shooting the Hearts down tonight. It was great, right? I always enjoy it. It's always different. And Sensum and Eki and John, we have a great time, and in the chat we have a good laugh. Toffee and Streaky is always quirky. We'll go with that. We'll go with that, Streaky. So what did I see Joni saying? Cell phones in the early days were always doing weird things to me. So much so, where's this going? So much so, friends and family would joke that I had a poltergeist attached to me. I wonder if it was something like you all have. Wait, what? Me? I've not got that, surely. I don't think I've got a poltergeist. Anytime I see the word poltergeist, I think of the movie Poltergeist. And then when I watched that when I was young, it freaked me out, man. I remember thinking, nah, I don't like horror. I don't like horror movies. They're not for me, right? I mean, yikes. But yeah, cell phones are certainly strange. I'll give you that. Not as strange as the movie Poltergeist, though. I don't think I watched the second or the third. Is there a third? I'm unsure. What else did I see? Is there any more comments? Before we consider maybe wrapping it up. I better let people get to their bed, right? It's late. Yeah, what am I doing tomorrow? I'm going to see a friend tomorrow. Probably consume some Scottish water. We'll go with that. And get a catch up. That should be good. I've not seen him in a while. He was actually my best man at my wedding in 2019. A lifetime ago, that, man, right? Innit? Think back to 2019, the summer of 2019. Feels like a different world. It's the same kind of feeling when you think back to the year 2000 or 2001 pre 9/11. But then after it, it's like, oh yeah, shit, right? What happened? What did they do? So who else did I see? Carmel in the hood. I didn't see that, but I don't think that would surprise anyone, right? And it's funny as well because I've mentioned before, when they're talking about a great reset, it includes every single thing, probably even Hollywood. So they're going to tear it down. They're going to reset it. But it'll be good after, right? Sure. And I mean, I don't know about... I've not watched the movie about... What's it called? The Sound of Freedom, or... I can't remember. But I mean, it's the guy Mel Gibson, right? Is that the right movie I'm thinking of? I mean, it won't be anything good. Not Mel Gibson. There's a video that he put out, and it looks like he's been smoking crack. Honest to God. I compared it to a Peter Griffin Family Guy video where he smokes meth. And you can kind of see it in his eyes. And I shouldn't laugh, but I mean, Mel Gibson he's not a guy that you can trust, I don't think. I'd like to think that he is, but he won't be, I'm afraid. If he's got anything to do with it, I would be staying well clear of it. But they will bring it down. They're bringing it all down. The whole lot. The great robbery in full swing. The government, it'll come down. Most likely in an orchestrated fashion. So the whole lot's going to be... Maybe Hollywood in the future is going to be a virtual reality. Think about it. Think about the world, the world. Think about the world they want, the smart world, the virtual reality world. Where does Hollywood fit into it? It don't. In fact, where does anything that we like fit into it? It don't. So it must be reset. It has to be reborn, if you like. So they will get rid of it. And it'll probably be in the most sickest, horrendous fashion you could think of. Because when you get deep down into Hollywood, holy Jesus! Yikes, man. And I mean, I know kids growing up and they think, yeah, Hollywood. Cool, right? Yikes, thank God. All these kids, probably including myself, never went anywhere near Hollywood. Probably never to be bloody seen again. Anytime I think about the goings on at Hollywood, it gives me the absolute creeps, man. And if Mel Gibson's not part of the club, we'll go with that for the time being. He wouldn't get away with doing what he's doing. He simply wouldn't. No way would he. Otherwise, he wouldn't have very long to live. If he was to be not whacked, maybe, then I don't know. Hey, that could maybe point to him actually being a rogue agent, if you like. But I don't think anyone could deny that Mel Gibson is indeed in the club. I think that is set in stone. Now, what you've got to remember is if you... the worst person, when it comes to the Brotherhood and the occult, the worst person you can be to them is someone who is on the inside who then goes against them. That is the worst kind of move that could ever be committed. They will not have it. They would make an example of you like that. They've got so much power. It would be almost impossible to avoid being taken out. They would get you one way or another, no matter who you are. And if you're a big celebrity with a big bank account, well, they'd shut you down, man. Before you could even blink, they would have you shut down. So we've just got to be careful, right? We can't really, I mean, we know about Hollywood already. So the question is really, I guess, what are they doing? Is this the reset of Hollywood that we're seeing? Is Mel Gibson gonna lead the charge a bit like fucking Braveheart? I mean, fucking hell, you couldn't make it up, right? What a world we're in today. He's gonna paint his face in the Scotland flag and go charging through the streets of Hollyweird. Freedom! Braveheart Part 2. I mean, when it comes to human trafficking, yeah, Hollywood is probably where to go. And I would probably lean towards more children trafficking. Some of that came out in the past. It's already came out, even in the mainstream media, to an extent. A lot of people today, they wouldn't buy it. They simply wouldn't want to hear it. No, I don't want, I'm not hearing that. Nope, 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 nope. Head in the sand. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, people can do that. Knock themselves out. But I like to keep my eyes open, my eyes peeled. And I like to kind of know what I'm dealing with. And you can see a lot of people, you could see a lot of people in the what people might call the truth movement getting behind this whole tear Hollywood down sort of movement. But then again, the question would be, and replace it with what exactly? The fucking meta Hollywood? The virtual Hollywood. That's the only thing it can be, because that is seemingly the future. So it's got to be. It's got to somehow get to that point. I'm unsure when that sort of transformation will happen, but we're clearly at the moment seeing a destruction of Hollywood, because it's all coming out. All the stuff we've talked about years ago, people talked about probably before I was even born. So I don't think there's any room in a smart city for, let's say, a cinema. Everything's going to become a product that you'll do from home. That's the way it's going to be. So a bit like even, I mean, we're practically already there. You'll order your shopping, it gets delivered. You could order a movie online. You don't have to go and buy a DVD or go to the cinema to watch it. But even when it comes to things like driving, that'll probably at some point become a product as well, where you won't own a car. You'll simply, if you need to go somewhere, you'll order a car. It'll come and pick you up. It'll take you there, and that'll be it. And that'll only be if you've been a good boy, right, or girl. Otherwise, you won't be going anywhere. Because think about it. They don't want you owning anything whatsoever. So anything you do get, it will be in a disposable fashion where you buy it in, then it's gone. And somehow you're going to be happy, right? Seemingly, I don't know how that could be the case, but I mean, when I contemplate a smart world of, say, 2060. It's hard to kind of grasp it, right? It's not a world that I could see me enjoying or wanting to stay in. But of course, by that point, a lot of people won't know any different. They'll probably want it. They'll probably support it, not want it changed. So I guess again, it'll come to a point for people in time where you're either with the agenda or you're not, and you'll probably be out on your Todd. Maybe even to an extent where you can't access a simple store, a shop, the supermarket. I mean, imagine, imagine, I shouldn't laugh, but imagine the amount of people that'll turn to crime then, man. I guess by then, they're going to have the Boston Dynamic robot on the street kicking everyone's ass, right? Imagine having to fight one of them. Fucking hell. Tell you, I don't fancy that. I mean, you would never be able to run away from it. So you would just have to give up and get crushed by it. And anytime I think about Boston Dynamic and the robot, I think about RoboCop. Obviously. And well, not RoboCop in particular, but the baddie in RoboCop. What was his name again? CRPL, TL, I can't remember, T15 or someone will remember. But of course, it goes a bit tits up, and it's got a glitch in it, right? And it shoots some of the people in the boardroom. Interesting as well, because when you look at the movie RoboCop, it's kind of set in today, I think, round about this time, and the world does not look good. It's like full of crime and people roaming the streets, a bit like that movie Time that I watched, although I'm unsure what it's called. But also everything's run by this corporation, right? They control the world. And that is where we are. That's what we have at the moment. And I mean, people are saying that's where we're going, but it's already here. That is the way it is. It is run by these big corporations. No two ways about it. It's certainly not run by the fucking government. And then, of course, when you get down to it, I guess the majority of it is run by BlackRock. And I mean, that is staggering to think the influence that company has is beyond belief. It should not be. It simply shouldn't be. It won't be. It's clearly not by accident. Similar to Amazon, none of that is by accident. Of course it's not. But when they obviously when they first started Amazon, it was about selling books online, and people laughed at it. Oh, don't be stupid, bloody idiot, selling books online. Look at it now. Look at what it is today. Yeah, they still sell books, but look at everything that it's done. Honestly. Talk about true colours shining through, right? And of course, people laughed at Bezos. He's stupid idiot's going to be trying to sell a book online. And it took years for them to even make a penny. But of course, it was all part of the plan. It didn't matter. It was still going to go ahead, even if it was in debt. it would go and go and go and develop, of course, into what we see today. Look at what they're doing now. Amazon Ring doorbell, all these cameras right across the board. Streets full of them. Houses, you name it. Constant round the clock surveillance. Talk about digging your own grave, right? But of course, people say, well, there's a lot of crime. So what are they meant to do? They're worried about being a victim of crime. So they're all getting cameras to deter. And I can't really say, well, don't. But in the same breath, I kind of think, look, can you not see what we're creating here is a surveillance state? Total surveillance, where you can't go anywhere without being fucking recorded. And for me personally, I don't like it. I do not like it. And I can't help but think, well, look at if everyone's got these, right? Think about it when they roll out climate lockdown. They're going to see who's out, who's not, who's sneaking out, who's spending more than 2 minutes exercise. Because they'll have a fucking Amazon doorbell camera everywhere. I mean, I wonder what Bill Cooper would make of that, right? I bet you Bill Cooper would be spinning in his grave at the thought of all these people putting these cameras on their door, man. In their house as well. You can get them all in every room and right round your house. And it's great, right? I mean, they sell it for good intention. Yeah, I get it. But that won't be the true purpose of the technology. But people are buying them. And you know this, my son Billy keeps asking me to get one. But I keep refusing. If anyone thinks about fucking knocking on my door, to be honest, you won't be. It's probably better there's not a camera, to be fair, because if they come with the wrong intentions, yeah, that wouldn't be pretty. So, are we out of breath now? Are we all done? Are we finished? Are we almost there? I reckon I'll be back on Monday. So I'll be away tomorrow, which is today. And I'll be away tomorrow as well, actually, Sunday. So we're looking at Monday night. And if anybody's got any ideas to a potential guest to have on, let me know, right? Then I can blame you if they're not any good, right? Instead of, although every guest we've had on has been good, to be fair. At least I think they've been great. Met was great. We'll definitely get Met on again, see how he's getting on. And of course, we had Bart on twice. That was great. We'll definitely get Bart. And Mark as well. That was fantastic. And of course, I disappeared for about 20 minutes. Yeah, which was funny. But there you go. Mark was a true professional and held the line, which was great. I'll definitely get Mark on again. So I'll try and think of a few more people that people might enjoy. And I can only wish people all the best and thank you for joining tonight. What I'll do is I'll find a tune and we will call it a night, a morning even. And like I said, I'll be back on Monday and we'll get into one or two things. So yeah, get out there, enjoy yourself, Hey, life's too short, right? Don't do what you need to do. Don't save it till next week. Just get it done. Get ahead of the game. Don't let anybody ever get in your way, and not for one split second live in fear. Don't do it. I cannot emphasize that enough. And remember, no matter what, no matter where, do not comply. And that is about it. Bye-bye.
You want me to knock you in the head?
Well, I want you to swear to God on the Bible that you walked on the moon.
Okay.
If you walked on the moon, we're given the opportunity to swear to God that you walked on the moon.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to get the hell knocked out of you if you don't leave me alone.
So why don't you just put the end to the record in the argument and put your hand on the Bible, swear to God you walked on the moon.
Mr. Seibel, knowing you, that's probably a fake Bible.
Well, you're talking to the wrong guy. Why don't you talk to the administrator in NASA? We're passengers. We're guys going on a flight.
I don't hit people, but you're going to be on the deck unless you get
I'm heading out. I appreciate it.
and get the hell out of my house.
Well,
Take your stuff and get the fuck out. Why don't you quote me and say it's bullshit?
The shadows in the wrong place. I don't give a damn about all that shit.
You're full of shit.
of lunar orbit being falsified.
Being falsified?
Correct. We got an unedited tape from a source at the Johnson Space Center.
Yes.
Totally nonsense. Mr. Seibel, you do not deserve answers.
If you show this publicly, you're open for a lawsuit. Okay?
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
I never told you I loved you. I never told you I loved you, and I looked into your acid eyes, into your acid eyes. I never told you I loved you. I never told you I loved you, and I looked into your acid eyes. You did the damage when you walked in the room. You started whistling my favorite tune. You did the damage, it's done from the start. It's like you swallowed my heart. It's like you swallowed my heart. Oh, I never told you I loved you. I never told you I loved you, and I looked into your acid eyes, into your acid eyes. I never told you I loved you. I never told you I loved you, and I looked into your acid eyes, into your acid eyes. And we were going up in outer space. My mind was on. I played guitar while you painted the romance. You moved so fast, we'd never last. And now you're gone, away to Mexico. My mind is on, and she's in my car while you're asking her to I should have asked, I never asked. So baby now, I never